Welcome back to Check Out the Stat by your girl Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. First of all, this has to be one of the craziest weeks in media, in sports. We saw the presidential debate. We saw Shannon Sharpe get exposed, down to us watching the Giants franchise in shambles. It's a lovely week, but either way, I'm happy to be back. It's a new season, new intro, new format, ready to go, and it's football season, so we have a lot to discuss. But before we discuss, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog, you can earn money by making picks on all of your favorite players. You can try the app in California, Texas, and New York, and the list goes on. If you want to play along, go download Underdog Fantasy. Use code STAT, S-T-A-T, to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit. And there's a free pick for all new customers. So let's do our Underdog Fantasy picks. So Sunday, the Bengals will play the Chiefs. Underdog Fantasy has Joe Burrow at 229.5 passing yards. You guys, I don't know how I'm feeling about Joe Burrow as of right now. He might have an injury. We will discuss that a little bit more later. So I'm actually going to go lower. This is the game I feel like a lot of people were excited to see until we saw their performance against the Patriots. So I don't know how I'm feeling. Underdog has Jamar Chase at 70.5 receiving yards. I'm hoping it would be higher. Do I think it's going to be higher? I'm not sure, but I'm going to put higher for this instance because I'm going to give him a little bit of hope. And then Travis Kelce is at 5 receptions. He's just been having a great year on and off the field. So I'm going to go higher for Travis Kelce. So make sure y'all download the Underdog Fantasy app. Again, use code STAT so you can make your picks too and get your free pick. Okay, so off the gate, first topic, we are going to start with Kendrick Lamar. So the NFL announced that he would be the halftime Super Bowl performance. And there's a lot of different ideas, thoughts, feelings about him being the choice. So me, initially, before I heard anything else, I'm like, this is Kendrick Lamar's year, okay? He already came right out the gate with Not Like Us. That is one of those diss songs that is going to stick. I think everybody from everywhere is listening and bumping that song, so shout out to him for making that. He won this so-called beef. At the end of the day, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, yes, Kendrick is my favorite artist, but I like Kendrick and I like Drake. At the end of the day, I'm going to listen to both of them because they're both great artists. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, when I hear Drake, I think of Kendrick. That beef went a little deeper than people expected. So that's what I think of when I hear Drake. And then he had his Pop Out and Friends concert in LA. He brought out everybody, YG, Tyler the Creator, a lot of local Cali artists. He showed love to his city and did a really good job. And overall, he's a great performer. I mean, a lot of people haven't been to Kendrick concerts, which I understand. People are just now starting to get more into him if you haven't been into him before. I went to a couple of his concerts. He's a great visual artist. Obviously, he's a lyricist, so I like the way that he puts on a performance. So I think at the Super Bowl, that's one of the best stages to be on. And it's kind of funny because y'all know Drake had that song, Big as the Super Bowl, and now Kendrick's at the Super Bowl. Was that intentional? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that he has his moment. Now, the biggest argument right now is that Lil Wayne should be the performer instead. I'm not mad at that. This is Lil Wayne's hometown. He's also a phenomenal, one of the best rappers ever. Why is he not on the stage? So a lot of people had things to say, one of them being Nicki Minaj. So she personally slammed Jay-Z and Roc Nation. She tweeted, denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game for no other reason but your ego. Your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki got you punishing Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne? The GOAT, Nola West good. Eminem stood firm on having 50 Cent come out. A white man. Shit's sad. House things. And then she goes off on her little rant. So Nicki said what she said. And I agree with Nicki. You know, Nicki has her own personal relationship with Lil Wayne. She is the true definition of a ride or die. I will not argue with Nicki Minaj. Nicki said what she said and she felt how she felt. Now, the person who came up and had to say something was Stephen A. Smith. So his rebuttal was, I respect you, I respect your work, I respect what you accomplish, but who else are you going to get in a beef with? She said, every time we turn around, it's something. Nicki, you disagree with the decision, but do you have to talk to a brother like that? Then Stephen A. said, why are we talking about Jay-Z like he's some damn sellout or something? Need I remind y'all, all of the hip hop artists, all the R&B people that have been performing at the Super Bowl halftime since he's been involved in 2019, you know how hard it is for a black man to pull off what Jay-Z pulled off. So that goes to say, again, Nicki has every right to say what she said because she has a very totally different relationship with these artists and she is part of the music industry. Obviously, Stephen A. can have his comments. He's a commentator. That's what he does. But I think this runs a lot deeper than Kendrick just being the performer. Because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's upset at the fact that Kendrick is performing. It's just they feel it should be somebody else. Now, is this the right time to say that? You know, that's up to you. Me personally, I'm going to let Kendrick have his shine because I do feel like it makes a lot of sense. This is his year. But the Nicki Minaj, Stephen A. beef to me is insane. Something I definitely didn't see on my 2024 bingo card. But here we are because we've been seeing a lot of things happen this year that we didn't expect to happen. But I'm just going to say it's deeper than just the show. The music industry has, you know, longer ties. It goes deeper than that. So I definitely see her frustration. And I think Stephen A. should have just let Nicki say how she felt because she has every right to feel that way. Now let's get into the decision though, because I think there's a lot of back and forth about why this choice was made. So the process for choosing the halftime performer, it begins with a panel that includes the NFL's director of entertainment, members of the NFL production company, and the halftime show's director and producer. And a short list is handed over to the Super Bowl hosting city for the final decision. So basically, no matter what we say and how we feel, the hosting committee makes the final decision for who is the halftime performer. And to me, I just think at the end of the day, it's coming down to the dollars. And again, this is not saying that Lil Wayne's not going to bring money in because obviously he is. But Kendrick is one of those names right now that has just been circling around, just like Taylor Swift. I mean, Taylor Swift has already been an icon. Her name is going to be in everybody's mouth. Now the NFL is profiting off of her name being involved with Travis Kelce. Same type of situation. Everybody's been saying Kendrick. So having him at the Super Bowl makes a lot of sense to me. And I still think that Kendrick will bring Lil Wayne out if Lil Wayne decides to do that. They do have a song together called Mona Lisa. If you haven't heard it, make sure y'all go check it out. But let me know what y'all think about the overall situation. Like I said, a lot of different views. That's my view. I'm happy for Kendrick. Am I biased? You could say I am, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so rolling along from halftime to the actual NFL. So we're going to get into my week 2 predictions. But before we can dive into week 2, I want to talk about my week 1 winners and losers. So for me, the winner this week was Sam Darnold, the Vikings quarterback. In my opinion, the Giants had every opportunity to win. This is why I said their franchise is in shambles. I don't know what is going on with their entire franchise, with their team, quarterback issues, but they got to find a solution quick because Giants fans are dropping like flies. So for Sam Darnold, right, Kirk Cousins goes to the Atlanta Falcons. Then they have a first-round draft pick in J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy gets injured, and now he's in injury reserve. Sam Darnold gets his shine. He was 19 for 24 for 208 yards. He obviously obliterated the Giants, and then he obviously got Justin Jefferson on his team. They had a good little run, so I'm happy for the Vikings. Will they be able to continue this momentum? I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then obviously my other winners is the Chiefs and the 49ers, but I feel like that's just way too predictable. So I'm going to give the Vikings their shine because I think they did pretty good that game. Now we're going to talk about the losers. The losers in general is just Ohio. Ohio lost in all aspects, the Browns and the Bengals. First of all, Deshaun Watson, we already know he has a lot going on between the new lawsuit, already the long list of allegations against him. He said he had the death of a family member, and he was 24 for 45 for 169 yards. Yes, he had a touchdown, but he had 2 interceptions. I don't know what's going on, but he's just not there, and you can tell he's not there, and that's concerning because quarterback is the key piece for the team. He was also sacked 6 times versus the Cowboys, and yes, the Cowboys played great defense, but they had to have something going on. And then we got to look at the Bengals. The Bengals lost to the Patriots. I think this is something that none of us expected. They lost 16-10. Yes, I think Joe Burrow is one of the top quarterbacks, but when are we going to start putting blame on Joe Burrow himself? Because when Lamar Jackson plays versus the Chiefs, we blame Lamar Jackson. We don't blame the Ravens as a whole. So I think this is the time to start putting that accountability on Joe Burrow. So there's a little rumor going around that Joe Burrow is injured and that he has a wrist injury. People are basically looking at the way that he's picking up a water bottle and say that he's picking it up funny. They asked him about it in a press conference. He didn't even know what people were talking about. And that's the thing about being a football player, especially a star football player. You do normal things and people have commentary about every single thing that you do, but the people are watching. So if Joe Burrow is injured, which I hope not, that's going to be a problem. So overall, the Bengals had a slow start during that game that they were just never able to pick up. And then just in general, the Patriots offense did pretty good. So those are the losers. Obviously, the Giants are the losers too, but we already knew that. So moving along into week 2, I'm going to give you guys a couple games in my predictions. So first one we're going to talk about is the Buccaneers versus the Lions. I do think that the Lions have this game, but do not sleep on Tampa Bay. They obviously were playoff contenders, and Baker Mayfield is definitely getting his groove on with the Bucs. He's getting a lot comfortable in his quarterback position. And I know their first game was the Commanders, but Baker Mayfield literally threw for 4 touchdowns, which is phenomenal. He was 24 for 30, had 289 yards. We already know Mike Evans is a beast. In my opinion, he's one of the most underrated wide receivers because I'm not going to say people aren't paying attention to Tampa Bay, but they're not looking at them as much compared to other teams. There's also second wide receiver Chris Godwin. He made sure that he was able to get the ball open, and he was his go-to for third down, and it was working, and it's going to keep working for them. They're going to keep doing the same thing until people figure it out. And I don't know if the Lions will be able to figure it out, but I do think that the Lions are still going to have this win. They're at an all-time high right now. Their momentum is great. Tampa Bay does have a couple of injuries, so I think that the Lions will have success. Next game is the Browns versus the Jaguars. Again, I think Deshaun Watson right now is making a lot of people lose faith in him and the team. There's already conversations about potentially letting go of Deshaun Watson. Not from the NFL side, but from the fan side. And you guys know fans be quick to switch up. But it's like, if we're not seeing anything change and we're not seeing anything happening, it's time to start looking at other options. Everybody is replaceable in the NFL. That's just the truth, but it's the sad truth. Especially from what we've seen from the game versus the Cowboys. He just didn't look really good. Trevor Lawrence, I think that he's a strong quarterback. Is he the best quarterback in my opinion? No. Do I think he's overpaid? Yes. But do I think he'll be able to get the job done? Yes. Okay, moving along, Steelers versus Broncos. The Steelers are most likely going to move forward with Justin Fields as quarterback while Russell Wilson is recovering. Would I like to have seen Russell Wilson play versus the Broncos? Of course, this is the drama we live for in the NFL. This is what we want to see. But do I think it's going to happen? No. Justin Fields is probably going to be in play. Even versus the Falcons, I mean, he was a good game manager. I'm not going to say he was shining as a quarterback because he didn't really do too much. He didn't throw for a touchdown, but they were able to come out with the victory. TJ Watt had a game-ending sack versus Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is already a whole nother conversation that we will have eventually because I don't think he's where he should be at, but we'll talk about that another time. And even our new rookie linebacker, Peyton Wilson, he had a very strong debut. Our defense is looking pretty good. We have a lot of key tools. And even if Justin Fields isn't able to fully move the needle, I think that defense is going to keep us on track. And I just don't think Bo Nix is ready. I'm a Bo Nix fan. I think he's going to be eventually a great quarterback, but he has a lot that's going against him in this game. I don't think that they are going to take this dub. My last game that I'm going to talk about is the Bears versus the Texans. This is an interesting one because this is going to be the Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud showdown. but there's not going to be much to show because we know that CJ Stroud is clearly the better quarterback and Caleb Williams has a lot more development to do. He only threw for 93 yards. I really still don't fully understand how they got away with that win versus the Titans, because they made the Titans look like a good team. People are sitting here saying, oh, the Titans are back. Nobody was saying the Titans were back until this game. Caleb Williams has a lot to build upon, but I have faith in him. However, I do think CJ Stroud and the Texans are going to be the clear winners. They're already off to a good start, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so on that note, we're going to go to break. When we return, we will talk about some not so good comments from WNBA Commissioner. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now we're going to get into the issues in the WNBA. I'm going to call this the WNBA frenzy. There's been issues all year long, but it's real crazy when it comes from the WNBA commissioner, Cathy Engelbert. So in an interview, she was asked about the toxicity, racism, homophobia, and online abuse that stemmed from fans of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese as they transitioned from college to the WNBA. Now, that wasn't verbatim the question, but that's what the interviewer was basically asking her about and how she's dealt with it and what are her thoughts. In response, she said, there's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It's a little bit of that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson moment, if you recall, from 1979, when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we had that moment with these two. First of all, her response, that first part already sounds hella staged, hella rehearsed. It doesn't sound like it's coming from the heart, but okay. Then she went on to say, but the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everyone being nice to one another. So my problem with her answer, right? When you're talking about racism, when you're talking about homophobia, when you're talking about online bullying and abuse, I don't think the answer is to say, well, this is just some great rivalry. This is what we need in the game. Because what I hear when she says that is, we need this because it's bringing us money. There's more dollars in our pockets. And there's a difference between dollars in your pockets when it's having to do with racism and homophobia versus dollars in your pockets versus a popularity contest, right? We've seen the turmoil that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have had come to them since entering the league. And it's not something light. It's not just like, oh, I don't think Caitlin Clark is built for the league, even though people have made comments like that, which isn't true. Same for Angel Reese. It's very much been, you're an unclassy person. I think you're ghetto. I don't like how you do this. I don't like when you wear this. Death threats. If you ever talk about Caitlin Clark or you injure her again, we're going to do this to you. It hasn't been light shit. So for the WNBA commissioner to have that response to say, I think this is just a cute rivalry, that's not the time to ever say anything like that. You were on a huge platform, and it's crazy that I am a casual, that if that's what you want to call me, a viewer, and I can note that what she said was wrong. When you're in the space to say something uplifting for the league that you support, this is the time to bring awareness to the issues and not congratulate it. Why are we allowing this to happen? Because a lot of the comments have gotten entirely too far. Even if they just make statements about things that they feel, people take it extremely too far. So then the WNBPA came together and they basically relayed a message saying, here's the answer that the commissioner should have provided to the very clear question regarding the racism, misogyny, and harassment experienced by the players. First of all, the way they even started that statement ate it up, because that's exactly what was said. I don't understand how that flew by her. They said she should have responded, there's absolutely no place in sport or in life for the vile hate, racist language, homophobic comments, and misogynistic attacks our players are facing on social media. This is not about rivalries or iconic personalities fueling a business model. This kind of toxic fandom should never be tolerated or left unchecked. It demands immediate action and frankly should have been addressed long ago. So it's interesting when you have the person in charge of your league allowing these comments, because as a player, what more else can you do? You know, they can come out with quotes, they can come out with how they feel, but if they're not in alignment with the person, you know, in charge of the league, that's where there stems an issue. To me, that's kind of like the same as, I mean, you might say it's different. That's like the same as Kyler Murray saying, like, it's not my job. Like, that is your job. You're supposed to protect your players. You're supposed to be their voice while they're on the court, you know? So to not be in alignment with them, to me, is insane. She did come back to try to apologize. You guys can search her apology on your own, because it's not the time to tweet an apology. You need to go back in an interview space and make sure what you want to be known is known, if that's not how you felt. But she only realized it was a problem when people started speaking up and telling her, hey, shawty, like, maybe you shouldn't have said that because we don't like what's going on in the league. Obviously, the league has welcomed a lot of new fans, me included. I pay for my WNBA subscription. I'm watching all the games. I'm a lot more interested. Granted, I watched a lot of NFL and NBA before, and now I like the WNBA. And it's a fun sport to watch. The players are super, super good, but they shouldn't be allowed to have all these people in their faces. They shouldn't have to tolerate the hate that they're getting. It's just been brought to an extreme level that is not something that can just be bypassed. So hopefully they figure that out, because that was just not the right answer. Don't like the answer. I'm happy the WNBPA spoke out against it, but we got to see some change. Okay, and then our last topic, moving along, just in case you missed it, the 2024 VMAs, which was completely overshadowed because we were watching other things, such as the debate, the football games. Literally anything else was more important than the VMAs at this point, but I think it's important to highlight the winners of the awards because it's pretty interesting to me. So first of all, Megan Thee Stallion hosted. The video of the year winner ended up being Taylor Swift featuring Post Malone for Fortnite. You're going to hear this name a lot. Artist of the year, Taylor Swift. Best collaboration, Taylor Swift with Post Malone for Fortnite. Best pop, Taylor Swift. I'm going to just tell y'all right now, this is so rigged. And I am not a Swiftie hater. I think Taylor Swift is a great artist and she deserves everything good coming to her. But please tell me in the comments below if you've heard the song Fortnite by Taylor Swift and Post Malone. Because I haven't. How could that be best collaboration when I've heard, for example, one of the nominees on here is Rich Baby Daddy with Drake and Sexy Red. Even Gorilla and Meg, Wannabe. Taylor Swift swept everybody in awards, winning all of these, and it makes no sense because I didn't hear any of these songs. Best hip hop, again, rigged. Shout out Eminem, but the best hip hop was Eminem Houdini. I didn't hear that song either, and I'm chronically online, guys. I listened to a whole bunch of different music, never heard that song. Like, you could have at least gave it to Glorilla for Yeah, Glow. That was like the summer anthem, or even Rich Baby Daddy, or even Fuck You Mean by Gunna. Any one of these options would have made a lot more sense than Eminem. And then to finish it off, best R&B is Snooze by SZA. Again, SZA's a great artist. Snooze is a great song. I'm happy for her and everybody who collabed on this song. Another nominee was Water by Tyla, which we've heard a lot, and Alicia Keys. To me, it's just interesting how things have shifted, especially when it comes down to awards. I think we see more and more how calculated these things are because Taylor Swift winning all these doesn't really make sense to me, like I said earlier. And R&B has definitely changed a lot because Snooze is a great song. Is that my category of R&B? Not all the time. It has changed a lot. But hey, shout out to SZA because she's one of the, like, I'm surprised best R&B wasn't won by Taylor Swift because at this point she won everything else. But let me know you guys' opinion on the VMAs if you watched it and if you disagree with me, if you think Taylor Swift, earned all these awards, which I'm not saying that she didn't earn it. Let me know your thoughts. But that is it for today's episode. Y'all can hashtag check out the stat so we can continue the discussion next week. And maybe your question or take will be featured. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.
What you want, nigga? Everything, nigga, super size. Two Big Macs, like when they doing them 2 for $5.